Mr. Rob Lister, the Chief Business Development Officer from Imax. Please join me on the stage. How are you doing, Rob?
Terrific, Jason. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. And congratulations on your 40th anniversary, and it's our pleasure to join. This is the first time we've been at this event with you, and it's really our pleasure to join you. And
There'll be more.
There'll be more, 40 more to come after this year. So I'm going to take a couple of minutes and kind of let you under the tent a little bit in terms of what Imax is doing in virtual reality. We just started announcing a few of our initiatives, and there's more to come, so I'm going to kind of try and wrap it together into an overarching ecosystem that we're building. So for 50 years, Imax has been innovating, and Imax has been striving towards one thing, one message, which is to give people an experience that they can't get anywhere else. So our audio, our visual, our projection technology has effectively put you inside the movie, taken people to the Hubble Space Telescope, to the bottom of the ocean, to Pandora, in the movie Avatar. And we're using this innovation, this technology, this ability to create our next generation of entertainment, and that revolves around virtual reality. So we're leveraging this technology, and in addition, we're leveraging the relationships that we have with all of our worldwide partners, exhibitors, multiplex operators, retailers, mall owners. There's over 1,000 Imax theaters in the world. 1,500 if you include the ones that are in backlog and set to open over the next 3 years. And between our worldwide partners, we've generated $1 billion in box office just this past year. So we're going to leverage, and I'll tell you how, we're going to leverage this worldwide partnership network. At the same time, we're going to be leveraging probably the most important relationships we have, which are with the content providers. My friend Bo in his presentation before said content is king, and it certainly is. And Imax now releases almost 50 movies a year, all the biggest blockbusters in the world, the biggest tentpole films in the world, not just through the Hollywood studios, but through worldwide global production studios as well. So this past year, we released 7 blockbusters in China, accounting for, and our China box office accounted for over $300 million of our total box office. And within the within the world of the studios, I would say the most important relationships we have are with the filmmakers themselves, the A-list filmmakers. They have a desire to work within the IMAX canvas, to use the IMAX platform, and many of them are using our own IMAX cameras to film their movies. So Christopher Nolan used IMAX cameras to film A Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. J.J. Abrams is using IMAX cameras, used IMAX cameras for Star Wars 7, and has said that it's the best format he's ever worked with. This ecosystem that we've created through our relationships with not just the studio executives, but through the filmmakers, the artists themselves, is probably the most important asset that we have. And the word we use internally to describe the relationship we built with all these content providers is trust. So when Sony or Paramount or YE Brothers in China build their biggest blockbusters, invest their most marketing dollars, their most distribution dollars, they entrust those films with our technology. So the question then, and Jason and I have talked about this, is,
so why VR?
Why VR? How does all this fit into VR? So I talked about our technical innovation, I talked about our relationship with our worldwide network of exhibitors, and I talked about our relationship with content owners. When you put that all together, and I'm sorry, I'm going to walk out of the light a little bit, but you can see the answer to the why VR question is because that's exactly what we did in cinema. So in cinema, we have first-rate IMAX cameras, we have relationships with the A-list movie makers and studios, and we have a distribution network of thousands of exhibitors around the world. Same exact thing we intend to do in virtual reality. We formed a partnership with Google that we announced in March to create a cinema-grade high-resolution VR camera.
So 360-degree camera.
360-degree camera, cinema-grade, and we're going to give it to the J.J. Abrams and the Chris Nolans of the world, and the Jean Mo's of the world in China.
So we can expect those VR movies that are coming out.
Exactly. Short-form VR films that'll be companion pieces to the big movies they make, like the Star Wars and the Avatars.
So what can people expect when they buy a ticket, go into a cinema? What do they expect to see?
Okay, let's hold that question. I'm going to answer it right when we get to distribution.
All right, let's keep going.
On the content side, we are in discussions right now with virtually every major Hollywood studio about a slate of VR content. We're also in discussions with Chinese studios and gaming developers. So we want to put the high production value content that we put on our movie screens onto our VR screens, which we'll talk about in a minute. And then to Jason's question, distribution. The distribution network we envision in virtual reality is location-based VR. So what is location-based VR? Location-based VR is putting an IMAX virtual reality center inside a multiplex, inside a retail center, inside a shopping mall, or just as a standalone. It'll be a destination where people come to visit, they get off their couches, they're watching a Netflix movie off their couches. Right now, they'll leave that couch to go see an IMAX theatrical cinema experience. We believe they'll leave their couches to see an IMAX VR experience as well. We'll bring more eyes into virtual reality. We'll show people higher quality virtual reality. So the example I would give in answer to your question, Jason, is let's say a moviegoer is spending $15 to see Avatar 2 or Avatar 3 in IMAX. For $25, after they've seen the movie experience, they can move over to another auditorium
next door
and experience the VR experience where they visit
can
Pandora.
walk into the movie themselves.
Walk onto Pandora. And that is in large thanks to you and to our partners at StarBreeze. Bo talked before about the StarBreeze, the StarVR headset, 210-degree field of view, 5K resolution, very IMAX-like. So when you combine the three together, the capture with the Google camera, the content through our studio partners, and the distribution through location-based VR centers, we think it's a tremendous and compelling experience and the next generation of IMAX experience.
And now we are already shipping the starvr HMD to IMAX. And when can we expect that start to happen?
It's a great milestone, and we're very grateful to our friends at Acer and StarBreeze for shipping this very exciting first delivery shipment. We are planning on opening our first VR centers around the world in the fourth quarter of this year. The first one is going to be in Los Angeles, a standalone center in LA. We're talking about a pilot center in Shanghai, a pilot center in London, a pilot center in New York. We'd like to have all of them open by the end of the year. We're in discussions to do that right now. And our view is this is a tremendous social experience. People buzz about going to the IMAX cinema. They buzz about it on social media. They buzz about it afterwards. We think it brings the same buzz to virtual reality. And the fully integrated strategy that we have, a very important part of that, a very important role within that, is our friends Acer and our friends at StarBreeze.
Well,